and welcome. And you can start. We are very glad to have both of you here with us.
Thank you so much.
Hola.
Hola, come on. How do we say it?
Olá, eu sou Rian.
Good.
Perfect.
So, welcome to the webinar, everybody. And thank you for joining us that we can represent La Petite Ferme. So I'm Rian Krieger, as the marketing collection team has mentioned, and Elisma also joined us recently. So I've been in Brazil last year on the marketing collection roadshow, and I'm hoping to be there again this year. So I've been with La Petite Ferme for the last 10 years, based in the beautiful Franschhoek Valley in the Cape Winelands. So we'll take you through the presentation, and afterwards I believe there will be a Q&A. So please write down any questions you have while we take you through the webinar. And Elisma, before I start with the presentation, I don't know if you quickly want to introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. I'm Elisma. I've started with La Petite Ferme, the beautiful La Petite Ferme, in August last year. And I'm so excited to have you all joining us so that we can share a little piece of our haven with you. But yeah, over to Rian. Thank you so much.
Okay, so just that little picture there of La Petite Ferme, that's the view from one of our accommodation sets, which we'll get to in a minute. So just a little bit, about Franschhoek. You'll see we're a bit elevated. So we are situated just outside the town of Franschhoek, literally 2 minutes out of the village, up on the slopes of the Middagkrans mountain. And what sets the property apart is it's a small little boutique hotel with 15 rooms. So we have the accommodation, we have a restaurant. It's the oldest operating restaurant in Franschhoek. We've celebrated our 40th birthday in December 2024. And then we also have our own little boutique wine cellar. So we also produce our own wine, which we'll get to a little bit later. Okay, so just a little overview. So if I speak about the accommodation and the restaurant, just to give you a little bit of an overview. So La Petite Ferme, which is in Franschhoek. Franschhoek is actually, if you translate it, it means the French corner. That's where the French settlers actually came back in the day. And La Petite Ferme means the little farm. So it's a small piece of property. Have our own vineyards, and on the property we have our restaurant reception, which is number 2. So that's where the center of the property pretty much is. Then the hotel reception is separate to the restaurant. Then if I'm going to refer to the winery suites, that is one style of accommodation we have. Number 5 is the vineyard suites, and you'll get a little overview of that now. That's located in the vineyards, loose standing little suites, each with its own private plunge pool. And then, of course, we've got the manor house suite, which is number 9. And we'll elaborate a little bit about those offerings in a minute. So just to go back, if you look at this picture, that is pretty much where number 2 is. So if you enter number 2 and you enter through the building, we've got a little veranda, a wraparound veranda, and that is where the restaurant is. So if you go into where number 2 is located and you walk through, and just later when I talk about the private lounge, that is for our in-house guests, which is situated underneath the bar of the restaurant. And number 7 is our tree terrace, which forms part of our restaurant where the al fresco outside dining is taking place. So yeah, if you go through 2, and then that's pretty much what you will see. Okay. So just what I've mentioned a little bit earlier. So the establishment and the restaurant is 40 years. It's the oldest operating restaurant in Franschhoek, still operating under the same name. just location-wise, yeah, for those who hasn't been here, this slide doesn't really mean much, but it's about 75 kilometers from Cape Town. We normally say about an hour drive from the airport to be safe. So Franschhoek is also a lovely location because from Franschhoek you can even do day trips to areas like Hermanus during the whale watch season. Some people even base themselves here and will do a day trip to Cape Town or Stellenbosch. So I'm just highlighting this because Franschhoek is really a destination. We try and encourage people not just to stay one night, but at least minimum 2 nights or even 3 nights. And while we talk about the location, it's also sometimes some advice on where to fit the winelands into an itinerary. Maybe a good idea to quickly touch on. People always ask, where should we fit the winelands in? Is it safari, before safari, after safari? Well, I always say it depends where the safari is, but I normally say it is lovely. Safari, you can normally end off an itinerary. I always say that's like an African highlight if people do a safari. But the thing is, as lovely as a safari is, I used to work at safari lodges, and I say safaris are actually sometimes hard work. You're up early in the morning, and you're up late in the evening. So a lot of game drives, a lot of eating, not a lot of sleep. And sometimes it's a good way to actually finishing off in the winelands because then you can relax a bit after the safari. But that's just my personal advice. Time and itineraries and where the safari takes place also play a role. So just quickly on the suite categories that we have the 3 different styles, the vineyards suites. Those are the loose standing suites with the private plunge pools. You can refer back to the map later. Then the manor house. So the manor house, in the sense of the word manor house, always sounds like it's shared accommodation like a villa. It is not. This is also for couples for the FIT market. In the manor house, we do have a family room with a separate lounge where we do accommodate kids from 0 up to the age of 12. And then the winery suites is also where the old wine cellar used to be. So the cellar we've actually converted into rooms, and we've got the cellar at the bottom of our property, which we rent on the neighboring property. So just the 5 vineyard suites. So you can typically see this is the view from the Le Mans suite, which is one of our vineyard suites with a private little patio veranda area overlooking the vineyards and the views in front. So that's the view that you'll have when you step out on your veranda. All the accommodation types have fantastic views, but the vineyard suites is the most private and exclusive of the 3 different offerings we have. So just this is pretty much, I'm going to just go through this once, but this is pretty much standard in majority of the rooms. Just pretty much the sizes of the rooms and the layout that varies slightly. All the rooms have extra long king-size beds, ensuite bathrooms with bathtub and showers, which all our suites have. Heated towel rails, underfloor heating, all the coffee and mini bars included, little amenities in the room. So I'm not going to elaborate too much on that. I suppose most luxury properties have to have that. No need to elaborate on that. Then just some interiors of the suites. Each of our vineyard suites or each room in the property has actually got a specific name. So the vineyard suites is pretty much named after areas, which is the Florentine, Provençal, Africa, Morocco, Moresque suite, Le Mans suite. And then the themes inside is pretty much all decor and have color schemes, and the interiors are done to a specific area. Our winery suites are named after our own wine labels, and the manor house, for instance, is named after people which had a significant meaning of the owner. So, it's very personalized, and each room is slightly different in decor, and the manor house has got different layout of each room. So this is the Le Mans suite, for instance. You can see this is the Africa suite, African colors. This is the Le Mans suite, which is named after a lake in Geneva, Switzerland. So a lot of blues, different tones, colors. And this is the outside patio areas of the vineyard suites. Okay, so 5 manor house suites. Just a quick overview on that. Same amenities I'm not going to go through. This is a view from the manor house suite, for instance, and you'll see the manor house all have outside patio areas, which is private, and there's little walls on the left and right of each patio to give privacy when you're on the veranda. And all these rooms also have fantastic views over the winelands and the valley. That's the John and Carol suite. Those were the original founders of La Petite Ferme. So that suite is also pretty much dedicated to them. And because they moved from Zambia up in Central Africa, Southern Africa, down, and they found this piece of heaven, and they had the vision to start at La Petite Ferme back in the day. And so this suite is dedicated to them when the property was bought over from them in 2012. Okay, then the winery suite. This is the old wine cellar that's converted. Also 5 suites. So in each cluster, there's 5 vineyard suites, 5 manor house suites, and 5 winery suites. So once again, not going to focus too much on the amenities. It's pretty much standard. So once again, you'll have the lovely views and vistas. And all these rooms are the same layout. The only major difference in these is the ensuite bathrooms, which are named after white wine varietals. They've got like that champagne colored basins and baths, and the ones that's named after our red varietals have got more a reddish color to it. And then each one, once again, slightly different decorated in colors. See this one again, slightly different color. Then this area is the private guest lounge, which I referred to earlier. So we have an outside seating area. So this specific space, we also offer afternoon cake of the day and afternoon teas or wine for the in-house guests. And there's also an interior area, which I'll showcase, which you go through that little arch. That, for instance, once again, a little story to tell. That was the old red wine or red barrel cellar back in the day when the property was bought. And that's the little interior space with fireplaces. So in the winter, you can use it as a little lounge where you can enjoy a drink, or even after dinner drink, enjoy a fireplace with libraries. But even though the suites are also quite comfortable, but guests enjoy the space, especially in the afternoons watching sunset. So that's also from the terrace, the private lounge terrace. You can see those lovely views. So we're very fortunate where we're situated. So every afternoon we've got the beautiful golden hour sunset. So guests love to come, after the afternoon tea, or just come to the restaurant before dinner to have sundowners on the lawn and just enjoy the beautiful sunset in the afternoons. So this is our restaurant. So just an exterior image of the restaurant. You can see that's the wraparound veranda. So tables are situated on that area. And in this space, and also on the tree terrace, is where we will serve breakfast for our in-house guests in the mornings. We also offer them the lunch and dinner in the restaurant. See, it's set up in such a way that you can enjoy the views from the restaurant. Okay, then just to give you a little bit of an idea of the style of food that we do. So it is pretty much a South African. We don't say we're not a fine dining restaurant. It's more country refined dining with South African flavors. And then we'll serve one of the dishes, for example, on the menu will be venison. So for those, could be maybe ostrich one season, could be other season, just some of the South African meats, for instance, and then flavors that will come from the Cape Malay in Cape Town. Then from the Durban area, there's more Indian flavors, so which we call like bobotie, which is a traditional South African dish, but it won't be bobotie in the essence of the word. It will be just flavors of that dish, pulled through into the cuisine. Our menus are also changed seasonally, so every winter, summer, spring, autumn, the menu change. Okay, then just a little bit on the boutique winery. We're a boutique winery. We produce our own white wine, red wine, the rosé, and then there's also two blends, the variation and verdict, which we do, which the wine is only available here at the hotel, some selected restaurants in South Africa. We also do export. We're actually currently looking at the Brazilian market, but it's not an easy market to enter to, but we are busy reaching out and look for opportunities because, yeah, some of the Brazilian guests who stay here do ask where can they find the wine. So it makes sense to have it available then in those countries as well. Okay, so I've pretty much touched this. This is just the varietals that we do, the Sauvignon Blanc, Viognier, Chardonnay. So the Chardonnay is also further down, I say the unwooded Chardonnay. So we've got a wooded and an unwooded. The Baboon Rock is the unwooded Chardonnay, and we also have that in the Grenache, which is a red. And then the reds that we do is the Cabernet, Shiraz, and then the two signature blends, which is the variation and the verdict. Okay, so also we offer wine tasting, which is included in the stay for our guests. There's 4 time slots, so we normally advise on checking which time slots are available. And that's why, once again, we say one nights we don't recommend, because sometimes guests arrive after 5 and then obviously they miss this fantastic opportunity to do the wine tasting, because there's specific slots, normally 8 to 10 guests per time slot, and the last tasting is normally around about 4:30. So yeah, it is important. If they've got 2 nights, they can experience the valley. People arrive sometimes late, so they go out for dinner, you know, at a restaurant. Could be either in Franschhoek, down in the village, or even at our own restaurant. If they do dine here, at least they get to experience the property a little bit. And then we find sometimes, you know, people book out, check out the next morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock after breakfast, haven't explored the valley or appreciated the views or the property. So there's enough to do in the valley. Different, Franschhoek is also known as the dining capital of South Africa. There's a lot of different little restaurants, a lot of boutique wineries, bigger wineries. And then just where it's situated, the scenic area and the beauty of the village is also what makes it quaint. The town itself has got little art galleries, chocolatiers, things like that. So even just to go stroll around in the village for 2 to 3 hours is quite fantastic. And then over weekends, for instance, on Saturdays, we also have the local market in town, which is quite popular. There's more during the summer months. But in winter months, there's also other markets and areas to visit. Okay, bespoke events. So if people book far enough in advance, then they can also do bespoke events such as weddings, a destination wedding, but then obviously you have to book all 15 rooms. We also use in-house events coordinator that can assist with the entire planning, everything around a wedding or a celebration. But then if we say bespoke events, we can also do smaller functions. Let's say people travel in a group of 6 or 8 and they book 3 to 4, then you can also do the chef's table. Then you don't have to dine off the menu in the restaurant. You can do a little bespoke chef's table with the winemaker and chef, for instance, which could be a lovely little foodie and wine event. So this was just a little event that we've done at the property. So you can see with the views, and you know, anything is possible with the setup and entertainment. So it's a lovely destination also for weddings, or even just to celebrate your honeymoon if you don't want to get married here. Okay, so just to quickly touch on some of the inclusions: breakfast, wine tasting, soft minibar, cake of the day, and then also just maybe to mention, which is quite popular. So, well, we call it our low season, but the winter and well, autumn specifically is very magical in the winelands. So now in the month of May specifically, this view actually turns into like a little fairy tale almost, because all the vineyards in front of you, across the valley changes, different autumn colors. If you look at the vines from yellow, oranges, reds, purples, and it becomes just such a lovely view. And the sunsets are fantastic. Summer, February, it's quite warm this time of year. We had 38, 40, 42 degrees a few days now over the last 2 weeks. But then winter, you can have fantastic days where it still goes up to 22, 23 degrees Celsius. You may be a bit unlucky, have 2 or 3 days of rain in the winter, but in the winelands, that's also what makes it magic, because it's also quite romantic in the winelands with all the fireplaces and the coziness. So, it's a bit of winter is fantastic, summer is warmer, but both seasons are quite special in the winelands. So in winter, which is also extended to the trade, is, for instance, our Lingalonga offer, where people, we encourage the trade. They also, through the trade rates, also have this offer where if guests stay for 3 nights, they only pay for 2 nights. And that's valid from the 1st of May to September. And that's pretty much a standard offer that we do every year. And we've extended that to the trade since last year. And that's pretty much us in a nutshell. So, if there is any questions, please, we look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Thank you. Yeah. Great presentation. A lovely property. I'm sure everyone loves to stay there and